What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another Triston Talks episode. Um, you may see there's a new look about me, but that's not what we're worrying about. We're worrying about young people and where they stand. There are bigger things to talk about than my haircut. Let's move on. So, my main thing about this is that young people, mainly Gen Z voters, I hate using the word Gen Z, so you're going to hear me say young people and young voters today. They absolutely despise the two-party system. I said it. I hate the two-party system. He hates the two-party system. That guy up there hates the two-party system. We all hate the two-party system. I'm joking. Not we, but me. I despise the two-party system. And I say this because we are having a hard time. We as young people are having a hard time to trust either political party. And we're leaning to more moderate and progressive stance on politics, and we're kind of getting pushed down for it. But I think it's okay to lean for a moderate or a progressive stance on politics. I used to hate moderates, but I don't anymore. I got a change of mind. But let's get into the research and history. So according to a 2023 Pew Research, Gen Z is the least likely generation to identify Democrat or Republican. Keep that in mind. Over 50% of young voters now identify as independent or progressive, which mainly the same thing, but I like saying progressive because that's the more modern word with Bernie Sanders and AOC. But most young voters are exhausted and disappointed with American politics. Me, I'm very, very exhausted, and I'm very disappointed with American politics. I've had many times where I wanted to quit on politics because I thought I was getting nowhere, but we must keep going because the world needs good people and good things to happen to change America and definitely the world. Not only America, but the world. But, in 2024, a Harvard youth poll says 56% of youth voters said that the U.S. political system is broken. It's not flawed. It needs work. It's broken. So 60% of the people also believe that politicians don't care about them. Me, I feel the same way. I feel like politicians don't care about me, especially my local politicians, like mayor level, but I'm talking about Senate, Congress. I've reached out to many of the politicians on problems and issues I had, and asked them to regard my information I gave them or how I felt about it. I haven't heard a word back, a genuine response from either of those politicians. I'm not calling out any names, but all I'm saying is that I would like it if a politician would reach out to me and I don't have to give them $5 to their political campaign. And they just reached out to me and got back to me about what was going on instead of an automated voice message or whatever from a fake AI thing. But it's okay. But we're going to ask why that young people especially believe that politicians don't care about them. It's mainly because we grew up watching school shootings. We grew up watching children get killed in the school where they're supposed to be safe and learn. But Congress can't pass a simple safety gun law about it. They can't find any incentive to pass any gun laws. But we can easily pass a big, beautiful bill that's setting back millions of middle class people. But as I said, the U.S. political system is broken, not flawed. It's broken. But we also watch climate crisis bills, green bills get pushed down by lobbyists, and haven't heard a word about it. But still, the world is deteriorating and it's dilapidated, and we need to take care of it. But we can't get any incentives about it. But it's broken. It's broken, not flawed. But let's talk about some history. Me, we're always going to talk about some history in these things. But back in the mid 20th century, both Democrats and Republicans had liberal and conservative wings. So, like with Eisenhower, who was a Republican at the time, who expanded it on Social Security, and LBJ, not LeBron James. Sorry, I had to get that one out. Who was a Democrat president who pushed on civil rights while also escalating Vietnam. But at the same time, political polarization was also rising. You know, you had Nixon, who was had this Southern strategy to get white conservative voters from the South into the GOP, which you see now in the Republican base. But you also had Reagan's trickle down economics, which is what hardened the Republican platform and what the Republicans run on. But I mean, and then also Democrats, especially with Clinton, was chasing centrist voters by toughening crime laws and cutting welfare, which brought the idea of what we have now, of that young people don't believe that the U.S. political system or the political parties identify with values, but they identify with money. You know, they identify with the color on their on the Republican or Democrat. You know, Republican and Democrat are supposed to mean something, but to them it just means money. You know, who's really fighting for the people? To be honest. But that question was kind of questioned by Bernie Sanders and AOC back in nowadays, back in the Bernie Sanders movement in 2016, and AOC kind of now. She's kind of questioning these both parties. She's kind of questioning these politicians. Who's fighting for the people? Are you fighting for the people? Because it doesn't seem like it, you know. And young people, especially young progressives, notice, and that's why a lot of people ran behind Bernie Sanders. But obviously, he did not. He ended up not winning. But a lot of people are running behind AOC to be the Democrat primary. But I mean, you'd never know how it goes. But let's talk about hypocrisy and the broken promises made by these parties and these politicians. Democrats always talk about protecting reproductive rights, but they couldn't, or they didn't, codify Roe v. Wade when they had the chance. And also Republicans talk about freedom, but meanwhile they're banning books and attacking LGBTQ plus rights. I mean, it's young people young people don't identify with this. They identify with progress. They identify with change. I mean, it's politics. You got to do something to get rid of. You got to get rid of something to do something. But at the same time, you can do it where you are making progress. I mean, it has been shown in history that you can do that by making progress. But and both parties talk about the middle class, but they also take donations from corporations that are single-handedly causing the middle class to stay in the middle class and healthcare crisis. Healthcare is a weird topic to me, but we'll talk about that later. But in 2020, the youth believed that change was coming. I mean, change was going to come in 2020, but I mean, as you see now, nothing really happened. Climate bills got gutted, public police budgets grew, student debt relief is still stuck in legal limbo. But who do young people identify with? When you tell them that change is going to come, they believe you, but change doesn't come. This is why that young people are moving towards the center and moving towards more progressive, and this is why mostly Democrats and Republicans are losing young voters. But on this last topic, to me, it's not apathy; it's activism, but it's just different. It's not traditional, as someone would say. It's not traditional. Young voters are still checked in. They're still checking off all the boxes. They're still posting on social media about what they want changed. They're still going to protests. They're still talking about it, like as I am right now. I'm talking about what I want changed, and this is what I want changed. But it's just not traditional. The young people have the internet at their hands. They can do whatever they want. So I mean, why not abuse it? Why not use it? In a good way, obviously. But young people don't vote for parties anymore. I mean, we vote for values. That's why you mainly see a lot of progressives voting for the Democratic Party, because their values align with that. But they also don't trust the Democrat Party. And it's a two-headed sword. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. If you put the right person in a Democrat primary, they will get stuff done. But it's also, who do you trust? But at the same time, you know. But ending on this note, two more notes. According to Circle at Tufts University, young people, they don't vote. Well, back 2018 and 2020, they didn't vote for the party. They voted against injustice. At the time, 2018 and 2020, you knew what was going on. I'm not going to have to tell it to you. But they voted for who was going to bring that change, who was going to talk about what we needed to talk about in Congress, who was going to do it. And they voted for that. Obviously, it did not get done, and that's why I'm going to say it again, we're still leaning more progressive. Because what's getting done between these two parties? Nothing. I mean, in my last note, I'm going to say this: if the two-party system can't adapt, it'll be forced to. Young people want action. They want accountability. They want someone who will step in and take action and get us where we need to go, and bring America back to the great nation we used to be. But that's it. That's all I had today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace. See y'all later.